such as whales, live in the ocean. Did I get stuck on a word for more than 4 seconds? Yes, I did. So again, in the classroom setting, you would repeat that procedure until the students are able to recognize that, yes, you did make that mistake. So if your partner gets stuck on a word while they are reading, what I would like you to do is make sure you're counting to yourself for that 4 seconds to determine if it is taking them a while to decode that word. And then you will then say, the word is ocean. And then you would ask the reader to have them respond, say, what is the word? And they would say ocean. And then you would say, let's go ahead and repeat that sentence. So you would go ahead and repeat that sentence and have them read it again. So let's practice this mistake while I read again like we have in the past. So I want you to follow along as I read the 6th sentence. It's going to start with the word however. I believe it's right under the big M in our passage. So follow along under that and listen to as I make a mistake. Make sure you count to that 4 and then say that word is, if you need to, if I'm making that mistake. So, however, it is impossible for them to stay below the surface for an
indefinite.
And then you would say, this word is indefinite.
Indefinite.
And you would ask me to, what is the word?
What is the word?
And I would say indefinite. And you would then ask your partner to repeat that sentence. You would say, let's go ahead and repeat that sentence. So then as the partner, I would say, reread the sentence as saying, however, it is impossible for them to stay below the surface for an indefinite amount of time. Very good. And the students and coaches will follow along and correct the following procedure and identify that indefinite word to me. If that does not happen, you can then go ahead and do this with another example or another sentence and have them catch that mistake to ensure that they're understanding. So the 3rd type of mistake that can be made is skipping a word. We oftentimes get reading too fast and we may skip a word. So listen for this as I make this mistake. You're going to listen for a word that I skip or leave out. I'm going to be reading the 3rd sentence in our mammals passage. It starts with unlike. Up 1. So listen for the word that I may skip while I'm reading this. Unlike fish, marine mammals breathe underwater. What word did I skip?
Moles.
Let's listen as I read that sentence again. I'm going to start over. Unlike fish, marine mammals breathe underwater. What word did I skip? Remember, we're following.
Cannot.
Very good. I've skipped the word cannot. So if your partner skips a word while they are reading, and they are unable to correct themselves or they just continue to keep reading without noticing that mistake, you're going to say, hold on, you skipped a word. Let's read that sentence again. So let's try this again as we practice and see if you guys can monitor for my mistake and provide me with that correction that we're going to do to our partners. So now I'm going to read the sentence. It's going to start with they. It's going to be the 4th sentence. Starting right here. So, they dive very deep to find food.
You skipped a word.
Okay. And then you would say, let's read that sentence again.
Let's read that sentence again.
And I would try it again. They can dive very deep to find food. So I was able to correct that mistake by just slowing down and noticing that my partner had helped me notice I made that mistake. Very good. That is how we're going to correct that mistake with our partner. So now we will move on to the last type of error that we may make while reading that our partner will be able to correct, and that is adding an extra word. So sometimes we may skip a word, sometimes we may add an extra word. that we think makes sense or would fit there. If we just get reading too fast, we may do that. So these are the different mistakes that we may be looking for while reading. I'll set that here so as a class we can all look through that. So when we make this mistake, we will go through the process of how we correct that too. So listen as I may make this mistake. The word, I'm going to start with they can stay. I believe this is the 5th sentence in our first paragraph. Starts with they can stay.
Right here?
All right, so listen for a word that I might add into that sentence. They can stay under the water for a very long time.
Hold on.
What
You
word did I
skipped a
add?
Word.
What word did I
No,
add?
hold on. You added a word. You added very.
I added very. Very good. So if your partner was reading and they were to add that extra word, you're going to say, hold on, I think you may have added a word into that sentence. Let's reread that sentence again. And just like with the skipping a word, by giving in that one little prompt, they may be able to go back and reread that sentence without going and adding that word by just slowing down their reading or going back and making sure they're not adding to the story. We want to read what the story has written down. So let's practice as if I am the reader and you're the coach. So we're going to follow along as I read the last sentence now in that first paragraph. It's going to start with they. The last sentence in the first paragraph. The last sentence in the first paragraph. So they regularly need to resurface to get some air. Should I get that? Read that one again. They regularly need to resurface to get some air.
It's not.
Did I add any extra words? Okay, ready. Make sure we follow along as I say each word on that last paragraph. That last sentence in that last paragraph. They regularly need to resurface to get some air.
Some.
So when your partner makes that mistake, we will say,
Hold on. You added a word. Can you please reread that sentence for me?
very good. So we would provide them with that feedback. So I think you guys are getting a very good hang of what mistakes we're looking for and what we will say in order to make that cooperating and have a positive relationship with our partner and what we're looking for when making those mistakes. So also when we're reading, we want to be sure that we're reading carefully in order that we don't make these mistakes, but yet reading fluently, adding that expression, and adding to our story. So now what you guys are going to do is I have assigned each of you a passage. Some of us have different passages. That's just how I have assigned them. And the number ones in our group, if you remember who you are, you will be the first reader. And then the number twos, you are going to be the coach first. So you're going to follow and monitor for that reading mistakes. And then after the first paragraph, number twos are going to read the first paragraph. And our number ones are going to be the coach for that paragraph and monitor the reading. If you go ahead and you finish this passage before the end of our partner reading time, go ahead and restart following that same procedure of one paragraph, until I signal for the end of partner reading. I will be walking around and monitoring for cooperation and positive feedback to our partners and making sure we are all staying on topic. So now you guys may begin and start your partner reading with your partner. So that would be how I would instruct my students on setting up the partner reading procedure. A couple of modifications that I have thought of for special education students. For one, the passages are selected most likely at these students' instructional levels, so that does provide differentiation right into this lesson. But it is also beneficial maybe for these students to first get some background knowledge on this. As the teacher, I can add maybe just reading the passage aloud to them once before they begin the assignment, just so they have an understanding of the vocabulary and what they may come across in the sentence to give them that background knowledge. And model the fluent reading for them. For English language learners, again, the passages are at their reading level, at their instructional reading level, and oftentimes it is beneficial to use passages that these readers may have the background knowledge of, something that they're able to relate to and have some vocabulary on so that they are able to build that background knowledge and be able to read more fluently and have that vocabulary that will help them in these reading situations. And then for talented and gifted, this lesson provides a great, for these higher achieving students, it allows them that higher order thinking process where they are correcting these mistakes for readers. Those readers may be correcting theirs too when they get reading too fast and if they need to slow down and need that help. But they're able to model the fluent reading for students, and they're also able to monitor and provide that feedback for when mistakes are being made so that it helps them build prosody in what they are doing and reading. So that is my lesson on partner reading.